Good morning. Thank you so much for coming today. My name is Tina Harkness. I'm with Mountain States Employers Council, and I'm here to speak to you about hot topics in employment law for 2014. We do these presentations just about every year because it seems that employment law is an area that just continues to change. We need to keep up with those changes as employers so we can make sure that we're compliant. I have worked at Mountain States for about 16 years, and I've been doing the employment law work and advising our members and all of that time. And I can tell you that the law has changed quite a bit in just that amount of time that I've worked for the council. Of course, many of you might be familiar with Mountain States. We're an employers association. We have over 3,000 member companies of all different industries, all different sizes, that join the council for assistance with their employer-employee matters. So one of those pieces is obviously the employment law compliance component, and that's where I fit in. So I'm going to go ahead and dive into the material. We'll talk about our Colorado legislative session first, because we had a fairly active session. It was not quite as busy as the 2013 session. So the first bill we're going to talk about concerned the Colorado Anti-Discrimination Act. This is our state civil rights law, and it doesn't get a lot of attention, or it hasn't gotten a lot of attention, perhaps because we have federal laws that protect some of the same protected statuses that fall under the Colorado law. So Title VII, for example, of the Civil Rights Act gets most of the attention. But the Colorado Anti-Discrimination Act applies to more employers than Title VII, in fact. Lastly, we had another bill not pass, but would have affected all employers in the state. So I want to make you aware, because this could be coming back as well. This was the family bill, if that sounds familiar to you, if you read about it in the news. And this would have created a state insurance program that would have been paid for out of deductions from employee wages to provide partial wage replacement to employees who are off work to take care of a child or a family member with a serious health condition. So you might be familiar that some states like California have these state systems where, again, employers and employees, depending on the state, contribute into that fund, and when people have qualifying circumstances, they can receive partial wage replacement during that time out of the state's fund. So what questions can I answer about our legislative session? Yes?
Can you tell me, as an employer, what I should be doing regarding the Colorado Wage Protection Act at this point?
That's a great question. So what as an employer should I be doing regarding the Wage Protection Act? Well, I think this is a really good opportunity to do kind of an audit of your pay practices. It's a good opportunity not only because of the Wage Protection Act coming into play, but also because we're going to see some activity for the Fair Labor Standards Act as well, and the exemptions may be changing there. So what I'm telling employers is, this is going to be about wage disputes. So to the extent that you have maybe somewhat complicated wage systems or pay systems for employees, maybe piece rates, some commission employees, if you use a flexible or fluctuating work week method to calculate pay, those are things we want to make sure that the employees who have those programs understand them very well, that we have them set up very well, because really when people don't understand how they're paid and they think their paycheck should say something else, that's when the wage dispute is going to come up. And we want to make sure that we've got our ducks in a row as an employer, that we're complying with both federal and Colorado law as it pertains to how we pay people, and particularly non-exempt employees, because these are going to be amounts of $7,500 and lower. Most of the disputes that I've seen to this point or handled for our members to this point have been around vacation payouts, around commission payouts, around whether they should receive overtime or not, employee thinking that they should when they are been classified as an exempt employee and not really understanding that classification. So I think it's looking at your own practices internally, doing your own audit, thinking about the questions you've had from employees and maybe even the wage disputes you've had in the past, and then deciding on what communications should we push out to employees to make sure they understand how they're paid? Because I think that goes a long way to reducing the potential for the wage disputes.
Thank you.
Thank you.